Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu delivered the valedictory address at the 107th Indian Science Congress on Tuesday. He said, as the country aims to become a $5 trillion economy in the coming years, there is a need to fully leverage the demographic advantage, with science and technology playing a leading role in driving the economic as well as social development of the country. And in this context, he called for creating an ecosystem for innovation to thrive.
I am also glad that India has moved from 81st position in 2015 to 52nd rank in the Global Innovation Index in 2019. Technological innovation is one of the key drivers to boost the economy, improve people's lives, and enable better delivery of services. We need to further improve our ranking in the coming years. There is also a crying need for our universities and scientific institutions to promote R&D in a big scale. The academia-industry linkage has to be expanded not only to provide employment to those coming out of the portals of higher education institutions, but also to promote research and innovation in a big way.
The Vice President said new technological advances and inventions are changing our lives like never before, improving the ease of living of people. But at the same time, new challenges are also arising. Science must find solutions to the problems like increasing urbanization, pollution, urban-rural divide, growing antibacterial resistance, genetic and non-communicable diseases, water scarcity, among others. He also stressed on the need to balance science advancement, in fact, scientific advancement, with the protection of environment.
Global warming and climate change are real and cannot be wished away by any longer. They are affecting weather patterns in an unpredictable manner, at times causing massive devastation. Can we not mitigate the problems faced by farmers due to nature's fury? Can the science throw up answers to these and other pressing problems faced by the farmers? How to improve soil fertility, how to make crops climate resilient, and how to make it nutrition efficient, how to improve productivity with less water consumption. For too long, the farmers have been plowing a lonely furrow. I feel the time has come for all the important stakeholders involved in building a new India and the scientific community in particular to pay urgent attention to the farmers' problems and find long-term solutions.
The Vice President also stressed on the urgent need for universities and scientific institutions in the country to promote research and development on a big scale. The academia-industry linkage has to be expanded not only to provide employment to those coming out of portals of higher education institutions, but also to promote research and innovation in a big way, asserted the Vice President.
India, like no other country, has a huge demographic dividend waiting to be realized. If we don't make the big leap forward in terms of quality of learning in our education institutions, we will have missed a great opportunity. We have to invest more and more in R&D, research and development, and focus on enhancing the intellectual capital through radically new approaches, which will have to be forward-looking and more receptive to adaptation of the best ideas as well as seeking solutions required for our country and global context.
The 5-day Indian Science Congress was inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the 3rd of January, where the Prime Minister pointed out that solving the problems of farmers and the rural economy would be possible only with the application of science and technology.
Innovate, patent, produce, and prosper. These 4 steps will lead our country towards faster development. If we innovate, we will patent, and that in turn, we will make our production smoother. And when we take these products to the people of our country, I'm sure they will prosper.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's mantra to innovate, patent, produce and prosper for India's faster development at the 107th Indian Science Congress in Bengaluru last week. Speaking at the inauguration of the annual 5-day event on Friday, the Prime Minister had stressed on the need to transform the landscape of Indian science, saying that the country's growth story depends on its success in the science and technology sector.
India had gone up to third position globally in the number of peer-reviewed science and engineering publications. It is also growing at a rate of about 10% compared to around 4%, which is the global average. I'm also happy to learn that India's ranking has improved in the Innovation Index to 52.
With a special focus on rural development through science and technology, this year's theme, Science and Technology Rural Development, aims to bridge the gap between farmer and tech developers by providing a platform to farmers who have introduced innovations in the field of agriculture.
The annual meet of Indian Science Congress has been witnessing a unique confluence of the scientific fraternity and sorority who share the platform to discuss the key issues pertaining to various streams of science and technology. The recommendations resulting out of this brainstorming offer a framework for formulating science policy for the nation. The focal theme of the 107th Indian Science Congress is Science and Technology Rural Development. In the changed scenario, the rural development has gained greater importance than in the past, and its contribution to the development of the country. It's a strategy package to achieve enhanced rural production and productivity, greater socio-economic equality, and aspiration and balance in social and economic development.
The Prime Minister in turn urged young Indian scientists to work in the field of rural development to create opportunities for cheaper and better innovations.
There is a need for revolution in technology assisting agricultural practices. Can we find farmer-centric solutions to the problems of stock burning, for instance? Can we also redesign our brick kilns for reduced emissions and greater energy efficiency?
To focus more on rural development, the Indian Science Congress has, for the first time, included a Farmers' Science Congress along with other events like the Children's Science Congress, Women's Science Congress and Vice Chancellor's Science Congress. Prime Minister Modi also launched the Indian Science, Technology and Engineering Facilities Map, or iSTEM portal, designed to hold a database of all research and development facilities established in institutions across India, which will enable sharing among researchers. More than 15,000 people attended the 5-day event. Several prominent scientists, including 2 Nobel laureates, were also present. At a special seminar, Nobel laureates Professor Stephen W. Hell of Germany and Professor Ada E. Yonath of Israel called for greater scientific freedom and integrity for the advancement of Indian scientific research.
It's very important to understand that in order to flourish, science has to be free and without big directions where it should go to. Although it's understandable that there is also some applied science, there must be room for, say, blue sky research, so basic research, curiosity-driven research.
What should be improved in education is, in my opinion, is encouraging curiosity, encouraging originality, and encouraging a child, even if it's in school, not to be afraid of the teacher.
73 resource persons from 16 countries presented papers under different topics, including ongoing research and discoveries in about 14 disciplines. The summit also hosted 4 public lectures, 14 sectional sessions, Vigyan Sancharak Sammelan 2020 and a mega science exhibition. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. The 5-day-long annual Indian Science Congress also saw several events with the focus on the theme of rural development. Events like Children's Science Congress, Women's Science Congress and the Farmer Science Congress were also held. Pride of India Expo, with displays by leading research laboratories and scientific institutions from across the country, also drew large crowds. With the theme Science and Technology Rural Development, the 107th Indian Science Congress aimed to bridge the gap between farmer and tech developers and also help them boost their crop productivity and diversify rural livelihood profiles. Many events were held during the 5-day convention. Inaugurating the Children's Science Congress, Bharat Ratna awardee scientist CNR Rao said that the future of science is in the hands of talented children who can do wonders with their sincerity and hard work.
It is not a hobby, it is a life's occupation. The difficulty is it requires dedication and doggedness. You have to work very hard, you have to work with sincerity, and I hope some of you will take up science seriously. The amazing thing about science is there is no limit for excellence. You keep on doing science, more you do, more you have to do. So in fact, there is nothing like a limit of what science is. There is a limitless subject, limitless ladder of excellence, I always say.
Professor Rao and Nobel laureate Israeli Professor Ada Yonuth awarded 10 meritorious students with the Infosys ISCA Travel Awards. The Children's Science Congress aimed to provide a platform to children to showcase their research and projects and also interact with scientists.
फैसिलिटीज़ तो है ही, बट साइंस को देखकर जैसे हम सुबह उठते हैं तो हमें हर चीज़ साइंस से रिलेटेड मिल रही है, हर चीज़ साइंस से डेवलप हो रही है और रात को सोने तक हमें सारी चीज़ साइंस की ही मिलती है. अब जैसे हम कम्युनिकेट कर रहे हैं, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन कर रहे हैं, इन सब में साइंस का ही हाथ है. तो साइंस इज़ बेसिकली अ लाइफ फॉर अस, क्योंकि उसने हमें बहुत बेसिक लाइफ दी है, अच्छी दी है, जो ईजी है हमारे लिए, बट कहीं ना कहीं वो डिसएडवांटेज भी है हमारे लिए.
वो तो बहुत बड़े पर्सनालिटी, ऑफ कोर्स उनकी तो बातें बहुत अच्छी होती है और कहीं ना कहीं तो इंस्पिरेशनल ही है, आगे चल के काम आएंगी उनकी बातें.
During the Science Congress, several innovative ideas were also displayed. One of the most important one being a solution to the stubble burning that creates an environmental emergency in the National Capital Region every year.
पराली जो है ये बहुत ही सीरियस प्रॉब्लम है इस समय, स्पेशली दिल्ली, हरियाणा और पंजाब में, और कुछ एरिया यूपी के हैं जहाँ पे ये प्रॉब्लम है. तो जब मैं गया एमपी भोपाल में तो मैंने कहा कि हम लोग इस पे भी काम करते हैं, देखते हैं क्या होता है. तो हमने पराली जो है हरियाणा से लिया, स्पेशली कुरुक्षेत्र के एरियाज जो विलेजेस हैं वहाँ से पराली लिया. करीब 2 साल पहले की बात है ये, और हम उस पराली को लेके अपने यहाँ हमने उस पर अनुसंधान किया और बहुत अच्छे कंपोजिट बनाए. ये आप देख सकते हो, इसके आप 6 फुट बाई 3 फुट के जो है पैनल्स बना सकते हैं, डोर्स बना सकते हैं, रूफ टॉप बना सकते हैं और फर्नीचर जैसे आइटम्स या अलमीरा ये सब भी बना सकते हैं. तो इसमें एक रूरल टेक्नोलॉजी डेवलपमेंट, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट जो है, चूँकि लेस एजुकेटेड लोगों को भी हम इसमें इन्वॉल्व करके और उनको एम्प्लॉयमेंट दे सकते हैं, और जो हमारे जो युवा हैं जो थोड़ा कम पढ़े लिखे लोग हैं वो सब इसमें इन्वॉल्व हो सकते हैं.
Another main attraction of the Indian Science Congress was the Pride of India Expo, with the country's leading research organizations like CSIR, DRDO, ICMR being the main exhibitors. The exhibition displayed more than 150 stalls by all leading research labs and scientific institutions, with a special focus on rural development.
CSIR के एक साइंटिस्ट थे, वो वहाँ पर आए, उन्होंने देखा कि हम लोग के पास कोई रोज़गार नहीं है, ये वहाँ पर बहुत सारा प्लांट लगा है, तो उसको कैसे यूज़ कर सकते हैं, मतलब इससे क्या कर सकते हैं. तो फिर उन लोगों ने हमको बताया कि इससे मतलब ऐसे फाइबर निकलता है और आप लोग इसे मतलब ऐसे बना के गुड़िया बना के आप लोग बेच सकते हो, इससे आपको इनकम मिलेगी करके.
In that mainly we will be highlighting one of the sanitary napkin which has been the low cost sanitary pads actually. This is for a rural population and it has been well received from rural sectors actually. So this has been promoted through many of the self-help groups actually. So in that cases many states like Uttarakhand and also Tamil Nadu and also Kerala, they have well received this as one of the major low-cost sanitary napkin as compared to the presently which has been available napkins which will be there.
The DRDO pavilion with prototypes of missiles and unmanned surveillance robots also drew large crowds.
So you have seen that how our scientific institution technologies are benefiting our farmers and also becoming the lifeline in our farmers' life. But this is not the end. As climatic conditions are in the alarming situation around the world, we need to develop more technologies related to it. With camera person Saroj and camera assistant Pradeep, Aruna Thakur from Rajya Sabha Television, Bengaluru.
With that, time for a short break on the program, but when we return, we'll tell you about the history of the Indian Science Congress. Do stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching In Depth. The session of the Indian Science Congress that ended on Tuesday in Bengaluru was the 107th. Since the inception of the Indian Science Congress Association and its first edition back in 1914, the gathering has come a long way. Over the years, it has evolved to include the participation of foreign scientists, women scientists, a session also for children, and the introduction of a local theme. In this report, let's take a look at the Indian Science Congress, its evolution, and what the government has been doing to encourage scientific temper in India.
The Indian Science Congress Association owes its origin to the foresight and initiative of two British chemists, Professor J.L. Simonson and Professor P.S. McMahon. They set up the association after they felt that scientific research in India might be stimulated if Indian scientific researchers met annually, just like the British Association for the Advancement of Science. The association was set up with some very clear objectives: to advance and promote the cause of science in India, to hold an annual congress at a suitable place in the country, to publish such proceedings, journals, transactions and other publications, to secure and manage funds and endowments for the promotion of science, and to do and perform acts as are conducive to the above objects.
Indian Science Congress started in 1914 and this is the 107th edition in Bengaluru. What I have seen in course of time, the major shift, it was started in keeping in mind that it would be a discussion forum of the elite class of scientific fraternity. Now, it has shifted from elite class to the mass. This is a big achievement of Indian Science Congress.
The first meeting of the Congress was held from 15th to 17th January 1914 at the Asiatic Society in Calcutta. Justice Sir Ashutosh Mukherjee, the then Vice-Chancellor of the University of Calcutta, presided over the Congress. 105 scientists attended it. A total of 35 papers under 6 different sections: botany, chemistry, ethnography, geology, physics and zoology were presented. The Silver Jubilee session of the Indian Science Congress was also held in Calcutta in 1938. It was at this Jubilee session that the participation of foreign scientists was first initiated. The 34th edition, held in Delhi in January 1947, saw the increased participation of foreign scientists. That was the Congress when representatives from foreign societies and academies were invited to come and participate, a trend that still continues. The year 1963 marked the Golden Jubilee of the Science Congress. On this occasion, 2 special publications were released: A Short History of the Indian Science Congress Association and 50 Years of Science in India in 12 volumes. The Diamond Jubilee session of the Science Congress was held at Chandigarh in January 1973. On this occasion too, 2 special publications were brought out: A Decade Indian Science Congress Association and A Decade of Science in India. The 63rd edition of the ISC in 1976 saw a significant departure in the trend of deliberations at the Congress. 1976 saw the introduction of the focal theme of national relevance that is even today discussed in every section, committee and forum during the annual session. The 75th year of its inception or its Platinum Jubilee year was marked in 1988. The main programs that year were a special publication, Platinum Jubilee lectures in each section, and extension of recent activities of the ISCA and its further diversification to generate scientific temper and popularize science. The 99th edition of the Indian Science Congress was held in Bhubaneswar, Odisha. The first Women's Science Congress was held on the sidelines of this Congress. So was the Children's Science Congress. The centenary edition of the Congress was held in Kolkata. The 100th edition was hosted by the University of Calcutta in January 2013. The theme was Science for Shaping the Future of India. The government has made several efforts towards encouraging scientific temper in the country. This includes the National Science, Technology and Innovation Policy 2013 with a view to promote scientific research through various programs and activities. Besides this, a Science and Engineering Research Board has been created and a scheme called Innovation in Science Pursuit for Inspired Research has been launched to attract talent towards science education, water and clean energy initiatives. With inputs from Aruna Thakur, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And that's it from us in this edition of In Depth. We'll come back before you